Hello, we're back.
Hopefully our light's looking better today.
Yep. Like we said, we're working on it. Still working on it. We think we might have it.
Maybe. We'll see. We get to introduce you to a new book today. Oh, I'm Dom.
She's Dom. I'm Mom.
Yep, I like doing that.
We're Scattered Minds.
Scattered Minds.
Yeah, I'm excited. This book is pretty good.
Yeah. This was one of my ones that I recommended from the get-go. Ooh, you have a gingerbread cookie.
You don't have a gingerbread. I do. Gingerbread.
And you also have a tree up here, and all I have is a dead fly.
Do you have pictures inside?
Yeah.
At all? I mean, do you have the bridge at the front?
I think. Oh, sorry.
Look, we haven't done this yet. Look.
Oh, cool. Look at these. This is my drawings.
And you'll get what that significance is.
Yep,
I have that
naughty
too.
and nice?
You can play in it. Feel this. Look what I have.
Oh, get out of here.
It's an embossed stamp.
Will you buy me one of those for Christmas? I'm telling my mom what I need for Christmas.
She's got it.
I do have it.
Yeah, and it's at the back too.
Last time when we talked about a different book, I think it might have been the last one, but I said when I looked up this book, I don't know if it was this book or maybe because they have do they have a show? I think they have a show and they have a map. And I thought that was pretty cool because it shows the different places that are traveled. And I thought that it showed many Stephen King ones, but the only one that I saw when I looked at it again was Pennywise. It didn't say Dairy, it said Pennywise Circus. And yeah, so that was just ode to Dad because Joe Hill is Stephen King's son.
Did you know?
You didn't know.
I didn't know either. She told me. You know what, too? He has a hand in writing Locke and Key House.
That's his.
Yeah, him and another, the guy that did the illustrations for this book, actually. I think it says it in here. Anyway.
Okay, I don't remember.
If you haven't seen Locke and Key House, it's very cool. You should watch it. Anyway, totally off subject.
Horns is another one.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Locke and Key, it says, maybe at the back of the book. I have to see it now because now I'm writer ongoing. Okay, he did the
comic book series.
So he had probably his. Yeah. Anyways, this is what we chose for our Christmas story. So because it's December and my mom is very festive, we've chosen
wear the hat.
We've chosen NOS4A2, however you want to say it, and
NOS4A2.
It is, obviously, you can see the figs here, the pine and the gingerbread. It is not based off of, but it has to do with Christmas Land. There's a special place.
Christmas Land is waiting for you.
Mine just says devilishly good.
Oh.
Mine's not as cool as yours, I guess. It is devilishly good so far. You know, when I went to I have to tell you this because it was funny, but when I went to buy this book.
You're so scattered.
When I went to buy this book, I went to, I don't know. And when I went there to buy the book, the lady at the front desk, I don't know if it's the same with you guys, but whenever I go buy books, they want to have a conversation. And I was like, in and out, let's freaking go. Let's go. She's like, oh my gosh, this book is so good. I was like, I know, I've read it before. I'm actually buying this for someone else because I was just trying to hurry up. So I was like, come on, I'm buying this for somebody else. It's not even for me. I've already read it. Let's go. And she was like, yeah, I mean, he's an amazing author. Don't you think he's a really good author? If you've read it before, I know you know. He's almost, he did a really good job. It's like when his dad was this age. I think she was just trying to fish me. Do you know that this is Stephen King's son? I'm like, woman, I know. Give me my book.
I'm already a fiend.
I know. I'm not usually so dismissive, but she was really trying to reel me in for conversation, and I was just like, I got my kids waiting in the car and I gotta go.
Well, I was really excited to get this book, and I'm actually quite a bit further in it than I was supposed to be at this point. But we're going to talk up to the point that she is at, because we're going to do this in probably 3
I think we can do it in
settings.
3. We were talking about doing it in 4 because it is 700 pages. But I think we can do it in 3.
700 pages.
600
It's a quick read, man. I'm telling you already.
700.
The chapters are really short. Let's just talk about this part first. The writing is, I like the way he writes.
Me too. It's so chopped up, and it reels
but it leads you into the next and into the next, and they're short. Chapters are 3, 4, 5 pages at the most. Yeah. Not even though. And it just makes you,
What's next?
When you're reading, and you're like, okay, I have to put it down. Just gonna finish this chapter. You're like, I just gotta read the next
2 more
paragraph.
pages. Oh man,
I am
like
I'm 2 chapters in.
This is how I told you about that. I don't know if we'll do this book, but I read Imaginary Friend. I was not happy with the ending. I was not happy with the ending, but the book is also big. It's like 700 pages or maybe more, and I read it in like less than a week because that same thing where it's like
smooth.
Yeah, you're like, okay, but the next chapter's only 2 pages, but the next chapter's only 3 pages, so I can hurry up and read this. It'll only take me 10 minutes, and then you're reading for another hour that you didn't mean to.
Yes, right.
So let's introduce our sponsor or anything.
No,
but
I like to think that, but here's our favorite for this book, and we've decided to do it per book because it's fun.
Yeah, and we get to enjoy the places around here, so we can try different things from the places around here, or even businesses. Yeah, I just really enjoy that.
That's the key.
Yeah,
and we want to point them out to you so you can try them and enjoy them yourself too.
If you're in an area close to us, then you can try the things that we like. And when we start branching out, when we've covered all the real freaking awesome places around here, we will start branching out further. And then we would like suggestions if you're closer to us also. Like we're Midwest area.
Yeah.
We don't get all the cool thing like the East and the West Coast get, so.
But we have some pretty cool things right here local.
That's what we're trying to share.
At home, yeah.
So
tonight, we're talking about Duck City Bistro. And if you know the area that we live in, you know Duck City. Everybody knows Duck City. Chef Jeremy prepares meals. He puts on a show before he prepares a meal for you, before you order. When you walk in the door, it starts with a show. So it's like, I like to say dinner and a show because it starts that way. And then you sit down and you have a nice meal, salad, dessert, drinks.
Nice 4-course meal.
Yes.
Which if you
can eat that much.
4 in our book, if we had 4 sections, we would give you a 4-course meal. But we're gonna do as we can.
We're gonna do it in 3 and try to give you our favorites as the specialties. Tonight we're starting with the Espresso Martini.
In a wine glass, because we're that fancy.
Yeah.
It's so good too. Cheers.
This is one of their very main specialties. People come there just to have their martinis. Their espresso martinis.
And those, I was specifically told by the bar manager that these little floaties in here are not mouse pellets. They are espresso beans. Espresso martini.
Nom.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nom.
Yeah, thanks, Nom.
This is good. I gotta have another drink of it. Yeah. One more time.
Ding.
Suddenly I feel like we're on Cooking with Martha Stewart.
But we're not. Have a joint in my hand. Oh wait, that's Snoop Dogg. Same thing, right?
I'm feeling kind of squinty-eyed though right now.
Oh,
it's been a long day.
Okay, let's start from the get-go.
Our main. What would you say our main character is from the start?
Well, NOS4A2 is vampiric, right?
I would say that, yeah.
Okay.
We don't have confirmation of that yet.
No, well, I mean just that word itself.
Yeah.
Correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And it is on a license plate on the cover. That's a license plate.
Which happens to be the license plate of
his
car. It is.
Ooh,
I know.
like
Feel this. The cover itself.
I didn't get a choice. When I went there, it was like, this is
what we
the
got.
only book that we have. So maybe I should have tried the other bookstore.
Anyway,
I have.
So and his name is Charlie.
Charlie Manx. If you just audible. I'm going to show you the voice.
I'll listen to it after we're done reading it. But I am, as I'm reading this, getting a better picture of him in my head because his picture didn't develop right away for me. As we're going through it and I'm getting further in there and giving more explanation of his face and I'm just like, he is not a good-looking man at all.
No.
So think of literally NOS4A2, the old black and white, monster-looking face
with that, buck teeth and very in.
Yeah, and I wasn't thinking that at first.
No.
So that's interesting. Yeah, just very unappealing.
And very deathly looking, because I think when it first starts out where he is in a coma in a hospital, and I think that they say even that his skin was like translucent looking.
Right, it was. They could see his veins because he was not eating, he was not drinking.
No, he was in a coma.
He
and
was
they
taking,
yeah, and they had to flip him for bed sores and that kind of thing too. So like he was out. There's no.
Except there had been reports of lucid moments, like him opening his eyes, and so that's what happens at the beginning. At
the beginning, he grabs a nurse.
Yeah, opens his eyes and grabs a nurse while he's supposed to be in a coma, and they can't explain why.
Yeah.
And then when they come to check him, he's in a coma. There's no way he did. Yeah, there was no signs of any change. Yeah. So that's your first, really, your introduction to Charlie Manx.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the very beginning of the book. You don't even meet any other character yet.
He's there. He's in a maximum. Well, he was in prison, but now he's in.
Yeah, he was in prison for
kidnapping.
He said I think it's something to do with his own family, right?
No, it was for lighting that guy on fire.
Oh, okay.
It was for lighting a guy on fire.
And possibly
But then they thought he was kidnapping and murdering children, too. But they had no proof of it.
Right.
So then we meet Vic.
Vic, the
brat.
like
Vic. Yeah,
she's
the brat.
Awesome. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
You meet her very young, too, because I think the book starts her at 8. Is that right?
I think that's right.
The book starts her at 8. And she's introduced at 8. You get introduced to her and then her parents. And her parents do not get along. So basically the beginning of her showing up is like she's hearing her parents fighting. And her mom is like nagging at her dad. And her dad is telling her basically to shut the fuck up. So they're just not getting along. And she tries to run away. So she takes her bike.
Yeah, and she got this bike for her birthday. And it was a boy's kind of bike.
Yeah.
That
like
was
a wide-wheeled...
dirt bike kind of.
Yep. Like off-roading bike.
And so she just takes off into the woods. They lived in the woods. Or their house was to the back of the woods.
Yeah, something like that. She lives near woods, near a ravine type.
Yeah, and she has some kind of power.
Yeah, so I think when she's first introduced, what do you think about that? Like, what was your... Because I've read this before, and I'm happy to read it again. So I know
I feel like, either she has some kind of power or she has some kind of time traveling power or space traveling power, or she is able to make objects help her do that. And so, I've gotten into it far enough about Charlie and his car, knowing that that's all something like that is also happening with him. So
yeah, but they're not the only characters. You're introduced to another one that has the same.
So then we meet her. Yeah.
So, but
that has a different thing going on.
So basically, this this power gives her the ability to ride her bike without feel, thought, knowledge of what's happening, and makes her kind of dream a reality.
Right, but it takes her
to other places.
Yeah, she thinks about other places or other things, and it takes her to those places or where those things are.
Yeah. So the first one,
it's like she can kind of manifest.
Yeah.
Where she's going, and she goes through the, what is it called, bridge?
The way.
Oh, yeah. God.
Why can't I even think about what it's called? I bet you it's on here. The...
Something way.
Yeah.
It's a rickety bridge.
I know.
And... God.
Oh, it's on here. Don't worry.
Anyway, so she is able to ride her bike...
It's the shorter way.
Into the bridge that goes across a big river and go to where or what she wants to go to.
The first one was why her parents were arguing.
Yeah, because her mom lost her bracelet.
Her mom lost her bracelet. And the dad was basically saying, oh, well, you got drunk and you left it somewhere. And the mom was like...
Because that's what you do. And
yeah, the mom was like, I'm not the one that is the alcoholic, it's you. And so then they got in this little piss fest about it.
Yeah, that was a weird dynamic there, and it surprised me that they stayed together as long as they did.
Yeah,
in
but
that.
you find out that it's basically just her dealing and him dealing. They're
yeah,
basically just dealing.
Yeah, and they just stopped dealing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so she takes off and she ends up getting to where this bracelet was left, which is in another state.
New Hampshire.
In another
She's
place.
Where is she at?
She is in
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
She's in Massachusetts. She
It's
goes
in New Hampshire.
to New Hampshire to get this bracelet, which is left at like a diner.
Yeah,
Some
that they stopped and had burgers.
beach diner area. Yeah, and when she gets to these other places, her bridge goes with her. So people are like losing their shit and it's not a lot of people, but it's like one random person will be like, holy shit, there's a bridge in the middle of my alley.
Because it just shows up.
Yeah.
And she pops out of it. But the key that you learn really quickly is that the bridge has been destroyed. That
the bridge is not
tried
really
to drive
there.
his car over it and crashed it into the river. So it's a bridge that used to be there, but she can see it and get into it.
She's basically manifested this bridge so that she can teleport over it.
Yeah. It's the shorter way. The shorter way so she can get from one place to the other.
Yeah.
And back. But it doesn't have, it has its... It has...
lasting effects.
Yeah, effects on her. It makes her ill, makes her physically ill. It causes her...
always talks about her left eye, how there's a sharp
stabbing
pain
Yep.
behind her left eye.
You haven't figured that one out yet.
So, she's basically getting like this pressure every time. It's not when she crosses the bridge. It's basically like she's on a time limit. Is what
when she's there too long.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh wait, I should probably get going back because now I'm starting to feel a little woozy. My head hurts. I'm not all in it. And then, yeah, she gets home and basically is out for quite a while every time.
And sick, running a fever, very high fever, and yeah. So that just made me think how it didn't affect her when she went to Lou. Anyway, that's way fast forward.
Lou? It did.
Because she didn't
just
get
read
out
that.
of it.
But
Remember?
we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
No, it did.
Okay.
So what's after? What's after her first? So her first time.
is that
There's many other times.
It goes back and forth between characters.
Yeah.
So you
you
got to keep up.
Yeah.
Pick up the book and start reading it so you can keep up with us.
Then you get introduced to Bing. That's what next.
What's next is Bing, and Bing is
He's got to be kind of like
slow.
Yeah, he's got to have some kind of mental issue. It's very, very, very apparent.
Well, his dad hit him. I think his dad beat him up. I think something happened to him because he ended up shooting him.
With a nail gun.
Yeah, in the head.
In the middle.
And then raping his mother. He didn't say that, but he said he did something bad to her in the kitchen
he said
afterwards.
That he did something
that's
bad
what
to
I
him.
was assuming.
I didn't know. I don't know.
He killed her?
Like, I don't recall. That's why it's cool to reread this. But I thought, like, oh, well, he said my mother was next. And I'm like, well, what else could be in the garage? Is he killing her or is he raping her? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, probably both, because I think he killed both of his parents.
Well, and he ended up going to prison for it.
Yeah.
And then doing...
But he was also a young child, so he went to, like, juvie.
Yeah, he went to juvie. True.
And then when he got out, he got a job working with, like, strong chemicals.
A pharmaceutical plant. As...
Like security?
Yeah. So... Yeah, and he was a model...
Worker.
Employee.
Never missed a day.
Yeah.
Always on time.
No accidents on his watch. He was a manager, a supervisor. I mean.
He said that he talked about moving up in the ranks. So he was one position when he started and then moved all the way up to whatever he is now, which is like a head of security or something. I know that that's what he talked about.
One thing that sticks in my head is a strange part that sticks in my head is when he was a kid. His favorite Christmas that he remembers is when his father gave him his gas mask that he wore in the Korean War. That he used to kill Koreans. And that was Bing's favorite Christmas ever.
Yeah. Because his dad played with him and played war with him. And then
him.
his mom even played, and it was the best Christmas ever, and that's what he the reason why he even... Christmas is even brought up is because he's going through old dirty mags that were his dad's, and he finds an ad for hiring for Christmas land.
Yeah, there's a picture of that one.
And he puts in
and it was an old ad. I mean, 40s. So, hiring for Christmas land.
And this is like almost 2000s. It's late 90s, something like that. I know they put years
80s.
in here.
Yeah,
somewhere.
It's 80s.
Okay.
That's when it starts, is in the 80s. So, yeah. So, 40 years later, there's...
Basically...
What are the odds that this is still operating in the first place?
But, yeah, and this is weird to me. Not as rereading it because how I know the story goes, but
for a lifetime
to think about it, when you first read this part, you can't really grasp what the hell is going on because Charlie Manx ends up meeting with Bing, and you're like... Well, Christmas land? What the hell does Charlie Manx have to do with Christmas land?
Yeah.
And where's Bing coming?
Because he sure is no Santa Claus.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, the put together in this book, the thought process of this book, this is very comparable to a Stephen King book.
And it's scattered.
I know.
I mean, but it's not.
No, not at all. I mean, you have to follow characters.
Yes.
You have to follow characters.
Right.
You can't follow, like, the timeline is all over.
Yeah, if you don't like movies that jump times
you were talking about this with your husband.
Yeah, then you may not enjoy this book.
It is you have to follow it.
It's got a lot going on.
The characters are so fun to follow though.
Yes, yeah. I find myself at work thinking about what Vic is doing right now. I gotta read my book because what is Vic doing now? And then the other characters too, but I feel like
she's probably, she's got to be the main character, right?
That's what I feel like.
Yeah,
she's the main character. But, it's called NOS4A2, so that means Charlie would be,
I don't know,
a character of interest.
Yeah, basically, so as you're going to obviously grasp onto is that they're basically saying that Charlie Manx looks like a vampire, and when we talk about this NOS4A2, this is the license plate on his vehicle.
Rolls-Royce
Wraith,
yes, that he drives. That
is his bicycle. That can drive him.
Seems to have a mind of its own.
Yeah.
And plays Christmas music all the time.
Because it drives to Christmas land.
Yes. Oh, gosh. So many things. So we start out with Charlie in the hospital, and then we go...
Are you following with us?
Back to Vic being a girl and coming up and how things happen in her life for a while until she's a teenager.
Yep. And she has made many trips over a bridge just for little things, and every time she comes back, she gets sick. So that's... And then
she ends up meeting someone on one of these trips.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
and finds out about Charlie.
Yeah. So she finds out from another person who has these same kind of abilities, which this person doesn't...
The Scrabble girl.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name.
Maggie.
Maggie. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Maggie.
Margaret.
And she's kind of a punk rocker kind of girl.
That's my girl. She has Scrabble earrings that say F you.
Yes.
I love it.
And so that's significant because she gives those earrings to Vic. But
her power
Vic is like 14
her
and she's 20, and so she introduces her to Charlie and says her power kind of says that she could find Charlie, and Maggie says, "Do not look for him.
Yeah, don't. You're
dangerous.
Too young."
Yes. So
what does every teenager want to do? They want to rebel.
That's what she does.
Yeah.
She finds him, and
so
she does it on one of those
it's not right
times
away.
when she's angry.
Mm-hmm. I think she's like 17.
Oh, when she comes back from Maggie, she loses her bike.
Yeah, she loses her bike. She gets really, really sick when she goes to see Maggie, and she...
I think she stayed too long.
She did. I think that was the thing. So she goes to Here, Iowa, which, by the way, is a skip and a jump away from Cedar Rapids.
Did you know?
And
that's
Cedar
right
Rapids
in our
is
neighborhood.
Real freaking close to us. Yeah, so...
Wow. Here.
Here, Iowa. I almost looked it up and was like, is Here, Iowa a real
gotta
thing?
Be here.
So, anyways, that was pretty cool for us.
Yeah.
yeah, when she goes and sees Maggie, she stays a little too long. She hangs out in a library and talks to Maggie about they call it an inscape, how you can travel to some kind of reality that is not real to anyone else but you. It's your inscape. So, that's an inscape, right? Inscape? Yeah. Okay. And she uses her Scrabble tiles to kind of read, kind of like fortune telling.
Tea leaves. That's what I thought of too. Kind of like reading tea leaves or
I'm Harry Potter.
a Ouija
I'm like,
board or something. She literally could reach her hand all the way into this Scrabble bag.
All the way up,
to try to find tiles. You know,
that was pretty cool.
If you could see it in your mind, you can see it in your mind.
Is that your cat?
So we're probably... So we're up to that point where she decides
to go see Charlie
taking
Manx.
off and she's going to find Charlie Manx. Mom and
she
Dad
doesn't mean to.
have split up.
She just want... Oh, yeah.
Mom
She's
and Dad
very
have
pissed.
split up, and then Mom decides to invade her privacy, and she's 17 years old, and Mom decides to try to
read her diary,
ground her.
And
Sorta, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little overstepping, but because of the age that she is, she's very rebellious too, and she's never been a big fan of her mom. She blames her mom for her dad leaving, and so all she sees through all of these arguments is her mom nagging at her dad, and she's like, well, you're the one that's wrong, and the dad was cheating on the mom. And so there's a big whole family dynamic there going on, and Vic gets real torn in the middle. She tries getting her dad to help her, and her dad doesn't want anything to do with it because her dad's in another relationship with a younger girl.
Yeah, and she had it out with the younger girl that Daddy's dating.
Yeah, they don't get along.
They don't. She doesn't want his daughter around. Yeah. So Vic takes off, and I think she says she's looking for trouble. So she finds Charlie Manx, and inadvertently, I think, finds Charlie Manx.
Mm-hmm. That's what I don't.
She doesn't realize she's looking. That's the trouble she's finding.
Yeah, so she finds her bike that was taken away when she got really
so sick
after seeing Maggie. So the parents took the bike away, put it in the basement, covered it up, didn't let her see it, and didn't know it was there.
Said it was gone.
Just with a bunch of junk in the basement. So it was gone. It was just gone. And when she ends up running away because her and her mom get in a fight. Anyways, long story short, she comes back, finds the bike, takes off with it. Her mom doesn't even know what's going on.
Excuse me.
So that bike ride took her to Charlie Manx, and that's kind of where I just wrapped up because she gets
to Charlie's sleigh house.
That's what they call it.
And they call it sleigh like
Christmas sleigh.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh.
Yeah.
But they also kind of pun on words because they thought he was slaying children.
Yeah.
Children were going
missing.
them
in the back. That's what they said.
Yes, but they never found bodies. But they did. The eerie thing about it was that there were Christmas angels hanging on all the pine trees around the house.
They called it, Father Christmas?
Yes.
They call him
Father Christmas, old Father, something like
whatever.
that. And they said that he hung an angel in the tree for each kid that he killed, but they never had any solid proof of any of that.
Yeah.
It was just all
based off assumption.
Yes. So, but she finds him, and she finds his car running in the garage, and she sees a little boy in the car. Mm-hmm. And she thinks she knows who this is, and she's got to save this little boy because he's going to be hurt. Well, he ends up being really creepy.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know if he's living or if he's beyond the dead or what's going on with this kid, but he is not alive
cold
anymore. There's no way that he's razor teeth.
Yeah, razor
teeth, icy cold, death grip. He grabs her. She tries to reach in to help him, and he grabs her and has he
burns her arm with the coldness.
Icy coldness.
Yes. So I can't believe how she was able to get out of this, but I can't believe she went into his house.
She went into his house. She went into his house
to escape this kid because Charlie came at the garage door.
Yeah, and she didn't even know that he wasn't inside the house. She expected him to be inside of the house.
Yeah.
So she goes inside of the house and looks at the front door, sees the front door, and tries to make a dash for it, and then realizes that he's outside.
Yeah.
So then she's like, well, what now? Goes back to the back door, and the kid's at the back door blocking her in.
Trying to smash his head through the glass. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's the whole time she's in there, she keeps talking about how it smells like turkey. Well, there's like a turkey dinner in the oven baking at the time, and she ends up, for some fucking reason, throws rags in
towels
there
in it to start it on fire.
Yeah, because she thought that was a good idea, and her
I
terror
thought she
moment,
could get out of one side or the other. That was I was thinking. What was
like
I
a
was
smoke
thinking
screen.
Too. What I was thinking.
Yeah, and she looks out the front window, and he has her bike, and that's where I was like,
yes.
So he has her bike. She's like, oh, I'm gonna run out the front, get my bike, and head over the shortway bridge. And
yes.
he's got her bike, and he starts calling for her. Oh, come out, come out. Well, he thinks she's a kid. Because the bike is small. It's too small for her.
Yeah, it's a kid's bike, and she's obviously a teenager at this point.
She's 17. That's why I said that's like a dead fly, right?
Or mosquitoes.
Yeah.
In the summer, or in the winter, remember? Anyway.
Yeah. So
he takes her bike and throws it into the shorter way.
Without her into it. And that's where you were talking about how she doesn't get hurt, but she feels a throbbing behind her eye, and then it pops, and she's like, oh, what the fuck just happened? She knew right away that the bridge was gone. He threw her her means of transportation into her Inscape.
Inscape, yes,
basically.
yes.
So she didn't have any way out.
She's stuck now.
She's stuck, and the sleigh house is in Colorado.
Right.
So she lived in Massachusetts.
So got to Colorado, and now she's stuck there.
Now she's stuck in Colorado. So she, tell about
Oh, Jesus. She
tries to block her way into the house so that nobody can come in.
No, well, they're coming in anyway, and she decides to go into the pantry, which there is no way out of.
Yeah.
Except there happens to be a laundry chute going up the wall
that she wedges her
whole body up and into. And she's obviously not a very big girl. She was
say
like
she's pretty petite,
tall, or slender though. Yeah,
all
slender
legs.
But tall. So she wedges her way up this and ends up getting out of this house. And Charlie knew it was on fire. He blocked the door and left her to burn in it. And so she was able to get out and get away because he had left, but what happens from there?
She tries getting away through the wooded area that's in the back instead of going on the main road because she thinks that he's on the main road. So she doesn't want to get...
And she comes across
a biker. She doesn't even... She's just going and going and going and doesn't even realize how long she's going for. Still can't even say, after the whole incident, can't say how long she was gone for, but she walked through the woods for so long until she ran into a motorcycle.
She ran out on the street and she heard a motorcycle going, and she came upon the street after it had passed, but somehow he turned around and saw her. And so they went to this gas station where she proceeded to kind of say, this is what happened. And
Old Father Christmas. I don't remember what the hell they called it.
They assumed, she didn't really say much except for that she was trapped in this house. It started on fire,
and then
he was trying to burn her. He blocked her in, and so they assumed that she was kidnapped.
Yeah.
And he was trying to hurt her, and she got away. And then he shows up at the gas station to get gas.
In the Wraith. And there's not a whole bunch of people in the gas station. So there's the attendant, or the old man that is behind the counter smoking his pipe, whatever, his tobacco.
There is a young couple with a baby.
A military man that is the husband, and then the wife with a toddler on her, like a 2-year-old or whatever, connected to her hip. She's holding them.
They're all like local too,
yeah,
right?
And then there's another random guy. And then there's the biker guy that she's with.
Yeah.
So there's like 5-6 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And so this military kid decides he's going to be brave.
Yeah, take charge. And he's going to
go out there and citizen arrest him or something.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he thought he was going to do. But the one random other guy that was with him thought that he was a cop, basically had a Cracker Jack box.
He was a game warden. He was like, I have a badge.
Yeah, a game warden.
So
he's going out there with him, with the kid.
I did not expect this part to get so extreme.
Me neither. When I first read this, I was like, holy shit.
So, and I honestly, got to this part. I think this is where we stop tonight.
This is where we stop.
Because I got to this part and I'm thinking,
this is where
Charlie's in the hospital and he was in prison for kidnapping children and killing them.
Yes.
And then this happened, and I'm like, oh, is this why he's in the hospital? Come from prison? Is it? I was like, oh, do they arrest him after that? Do they get him? You know, so I'm like, what goes on? Because you get to the flame part.
So he's pumping gas, and these guys are trying to.
They're like, that's
arrest
him. Let's go get him.
Yeah, this old, decrepit man they're like, this is not going to be anything. Well, he basically pours gasoline all over them and lights them on fire.
Yeah, and ends up burning this military kid to death.
Yeah.
Burning him up. But they end up knocking him out with a fire extinguisher, I think, to the head. But that's kind of where
you kind of get left.
it's like, okay, and then it moves on to Vic and where she's at now.
Yeah.
And you're like, did he go to jail? Did they get him? Did they?
Basically, when the cops interrogate Vic, they don't interrogate her, I'm sorry. When they question her about what happened to her, because we never really talked about how she doesn't really remember the Shorter Way Bridge until she gets to it, until her mind is so upset or made up about something that she basically thinks she tells herself stories of how things are happening without using the bridge. So, like her mom's bracelet, she had told her dad that she found her mom's bracelet in the car.
In between the
seats. So she believed that, even though she traveled to a different place to retrieve it from the restaurant that it was left at.
Because she just couldn't, first she couldn't really believe that she was able to do that.
Yeah, and then she kind of was just she had to make stories for other people. So the stories that she made for other people is basically what she held on to. So when she goes to talk to the police,
taking it as truth. Yeah.
When she goes to talk to the police, they think that she was kidnapped, and she's like, "Yeah, I think maybe I was kidnapped."
Yeah.
So that's kind of what she goes with. So I think from traveling forward, moving forward, you're gonna jump a little while in this, and I haven't even read to that point yet, but I know that it jumps a little ways because she stays in Colorado.
Yeah. Well,
because she thinks that she was kidnapped.
Doesn't. She leaves and comes back.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna stop there because we have a cool picture to end on. And so this is 2000 to 2012.
Oh, I forget. So that's your big year.
So this is the big jump part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and this is 200 pages. Man, we made it a good chunk of the way. We could read 200-page book in a week. I think we could make it further. You made 300 pages. So.
I did. I know it. 692. I'm just like, I want to read.
There's really not.
So that's where we are.
You can get through this pretty quickly.
That's where we're going to leave you. Pick it up. Start reading it. Tell us what you think about it.
The Audible is 18 hours, just so you know that. And I read way faster than Audible reads to me, so I don't like that. I'm like,
18 hours?
It's 18 hours.
That's a road trip. All right.
Just saying, we could travel up there.
Espresso Martini, we've been really holding this for the whole time, but time to finish it.
Those little beans bubbled for
Time
me.
for you to go to
Duck City
for yourself and try your own espresso martini. Try something else on the menu too.
Chef Jeremy O'Reilly says that anytime you go to Duck City, you should have duck. Duh.
Yeah, you should have duck, but you could have a steak as big as your head. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. See ya.